Here are the 9 steps or tasks I believe Claude Code needs to achieve in order for AI to reach what I consider to be the next big moment, the next moment where we're going to say, wow, hey, things are never going to be the same again. So in this video, I'm just going to break down how all these 9 steps look like, what they're aiming to achieve. I'm going to try to explain as best as I can how close Claude Code is at getting there, where it's not likely to be able to accomplish these tasks yet. And most importantly, hopefully, as we traverse through this, we're going to be able to identify those activities and points throughout the journey which are still inherently human dependent. And those are like the elements in what we do on every day as we try to, perform our work, perform our job, perform our tasks that make us truly irreplaceable and unique. Once we know them, we can double down on them so we can make sure that we're not facing this existential dread about what AI is going to do to us in the future. I've broken everything down into chapters so it's easy to follow along. I've also created, besides the visual representation I'm going to show you, an SOP with everything that I'm going to go through in a lot of details so you can then take it, read it, apply it to what you're doing or apply it to your business. Now, currently with AI gets associated with very big words whenever people mention it. You can see an example of this just in the title of this video. You'll often hear that AI can change anything. Anything that would take weeks or months, now it can be done in just a couple of seconds. Now, in order to get something useful out of it, we need to have like a framework to take these abstract ideas and see how would they realistically look in practice. For this, we're going to be using a framework I have discussed in this video. And it's pretty much just a system to break down something that we want or like a big goal into sub-goals and then further down into tasks, and how to handle each task in a systematic way so you can actually see how well AI is capable of achieving something in the real world. Before we just dive into the 9 steps, let's just set the stage. November 30th, 2022. AI enters consumer reality. This was the first time anyone could just open a browser, ask ChatGPT to write a poem about a toaster, debug a block of Python, or explain aerodynamics or engineering to a 5-year-old. This is for sure one of the first big AI moments. March 14th, 2023. We're talking now about AI being intelligent. It's starting to score really high in the uniform bar exam, and also it can now understand and process images.
Going from hand-drawn to working website.
February 15th, 2024. Google releases Gemini 1.5 Pro. Gemini has a 1 million token context window, which means people now can upload entire books or an entire TV show, and they can just ask the AI at what page or at what minute a certain character walks in the scene.
I immediately tried to kind of crash it. So I took 4 or 5 research papers I had on my desktop.
And it nailed it.
AI can remember and understand things that go beyond our human capacity. It's not a toy. It's not just a smart piece of tech. This is different from anything we've experienced so far. October 22nd, 2024. The agentic era begins. Instead of needing specialized API keys for every app, Anthropic releases for Claude computer use. Claude can now see a standard computer screen, move the cursor, click buttons, and type text exactly like a human. Up until this moment, AI was effectively a brain in a jar. You asked it a question, it gave you an answer, and then you had to go and actually do the work. Now, AI doesn't just know things, it can go out there and do things. So what is the next big AI moment? Now, I believe the next big AI moment for us is going to be the moment AI is able to just go out there and convince a stranger to pay us money. What does that mean? Is the moment we're going to be able just to like sit in our chair, prompt our AI or send over an instruction, just sit, look, and AI will be able to get a contract signed, win a project for us. In essence, the ability for AI to completely turn a stranger into a customer. Why are we focusing on this? I do think that when you're actually talking about like practical and realistic goals, this is the closest you can get to the moment when you can just sit, do nothing, and just wait for your AI to go out there and bring you money. Why are we focusing on this? Maybe I'm a little bit biased. Maybe this is just what I think because this is what I know the most of. But I do believe that this is something that a lot of people struggle with about this. It's also the one thing I do know how it looks in reality, and I do understand the difference between some grandiose statement, such as go out there and get me customers, and what actually needs to happen. So enough talk, let's just go and see how this would look like in practice. In essence, what is it that we want? We want to just sit, not do any effort or any mental effort, write a prompt or an instruction, and we want AI to be able not to reach out to our friends or to people who are part of our audience, but to go out there, find a stranger, interact with that stranger, and somehow convince that stranger to pay us a sum of money for something that we can provide in return, in terms of a service, in terms of a product. Now, if that is what we want, what is the goal of the AI? What does the AI need to achieve? Its goal is to convince people that we or it are the right one for a job, for a project, or we are the right one to just solve a pain point that this stranger experiences, and therefore the stranger is willing to turn into a customer of ours for a sum of money in order to fix their problem. This is our goal. Let's see what needs to happen further down the line for this goal to turn into reality. And in this case, we're going to be discussing about Claude Code just because at the time of recording this, Claude Code is the cutting edge technology that has the most capabilities out there, and is most likely the one that right now would be able to achieve this. Number one, the first sub goal it needs to achieve is to generate interest. Want Claude Code to have the ability to go to strangers and let them know that we exist, and not just let them know that we exist, but that we have a certain number of services we can provide or certain products that we can provide. After Claude Code achieves this sub goal, further down it needs to achieve the sub goal of filtering this interest. It is easy to get people's attention. You can just go out in the street and scream and you'll get people's attention, but you want to be able to actually get the right attention for you. So in simple terms, we would need Claude Code to independently and fully be able to filter all the tire kickers. The third sub goal would be to actually close the sale. What does that include? So in order to close the sale, the AI needs to be able to, after it gets the attention of a stranger, it needs to make sure that that stranger is fit for what we are offering. And then it needs to engage, ask for the sale, and then be able to collect the money so we can actually say that this stranger has turned into a customer. There's a fourth sub goal it needs to achieve, which is it needs to be able to go for sub goal 1, 2, and 3. And then it needs to have the ability to analyze, improve, and optimize. So this becomes like an efficient system. Okay, so here are now the 9 steps I believe Claude Code needs to be able to achieve in order to just make sure these goals are successful and these sub goals lead to the further goal of just what we have discussed in the title of this video. So number 1, Claude Code should be able to decide on a sales process that makes sense for the business. So what do we mean by this task? Choosing a CRM, monitoring it, and structuring the way a stranger turns into a customer with all the steps in between is something that, first of all, the Claude Code needs to be able to do independently. Now, the second step or task it needs to be able to achieve is it needs to be able to conduct research. So it needs to have the ability to go out there, find good information, extract good information, and make a good analysis of good information. There's a lot of examples out there where AI is just going to go scrape from the internet a couple of useful articles, bring them back to you. That is part of what it needs to achieve. It also research involves the ability to extract the information that is useful from all this, scraping and studying, and find out what are the unique selling points that we can use or it can use to just bump up its own chances of getting a customer. Number 3, and this one, again, it's huge in itself, it needs to have the ability to create. Now, if you're curious, what does it need to create? Well, this can be anything. Images, videos, like ad copy basically. Oh, let me just go back. You need to create something that you can then send over in the world to strangers, and this is how people can find out about you. With this, I think there's so many tools out there that they're able to generate AI images, AI videos, AI copy. The problem is that people are getting smarter and smarter, so it's much harder to convince strangers to buy into something. The fourth step that I expect out of Claude Code is its ability to buy advertising space. Now, take the example of Facebook ads. It needs to have the ability to go into the ads manager, set a budget that is reasonable, be able to make all the adjustments with the assets it has created, and generate campaigns and be able to monitor these campaigns and make sure that these campaigns are successful. If it's not Facebook ads, it could be Google ads. It could be TV, commercial, ad space. Or any other sort of platform that offers some kind of space meant for advertising. So I think here's another big element. Just because you have an AI that can just generate images and photos, the fact that you still need to go out there and just do all the testing, find the right platform, figure out what's a good cost per result, what's a good close per close, that is still very much something that is human dependent. In order for us to achieve our goal, AI needs to have the ability to pick the platform, create the campaigns, run the campaigns, figure out the right duration for these campaigns, and then get the results. Now, everything we have discussed from number 1 to number 4, this will serve sub-goal 1. Okay, for sub-goal number 2, we're talking about task number 5. Claude Code needs to be able to accomplish the ability to filter and qualify prospects based on everything it has achieved between step number 1 and step number 4. So after he got the ability to just generate prospects, he needs to have the ability to filter out prospects, and this can be done through opt-in forms. Oh, let me just correct this. Landing pages, quizzes, triage, calls. So whatever, so think about like all the steps that companies take in order to make sure that they don't talk with like tire kickers. There's a lot of things in place to make sure that you can qualify and filter people. Now think a little bit about how many tools out there exist just for this specific reason. Think about Typeform. Think about platforms like a Perspective. And the only thing they do as a company is that they build mobile optimized landing pages and quizzes. The AI needs to make sure to find the right tools, implement them, use them, and make sure that number 1, it still leaves out a lot of people so they can turn into sales. But number 2, it takes rid of all the tire kickers. Okay, so I have here only one task, but as you can see, I think we can break it down into maybe 100 subtasks, and this will lead to accomplishing sub-goal number 2. So step number 6. In order for AI to be as revolutionary as we have discussed, the best tools out there, currently Claude Code, needs to have the ability to ask for the sale. Now, this is not just about like, hey, do you want to buy it? I am including here everything that has to do with the whole sales process. And if any of you, have any knowledge about like, just conducting sales calls, you know that there's so many steps involved in the process of, asking for the sale. Before you even get to ask for the sale, first of all, you need to set report. You need to explain that the person who has manifested the interest is now entering a space of discussing the actual, the possibility of purchasing something. You need to build report. You need to conduct a discovery call to figure out exactly how you can help them best and how you can position whatever you're doing in a good light. You need to have like a pitch that you present. You need to object any sort of objections they might have. A lot of the times people really need something, but then they have these hesitations about going ahead with something. And then that's what's called in sales objection handling. And then after you handle all the objections, you have pitched them, you got the permission to ask for the sale, then you're actually in this position of asking for the sale. It sounds maybe simple the way I just phrased it, or maybe it doesn't sound simple, but this, a lot of people, and myself included, I think that AI is going to struggle with the most, because this is the moment often where people want human connection. We often want to speak to somebody to just put our mind at ease and convince us if this is the right decision for what we are doing. Now, I want to add here for number 7, a different step, a different task that the AI also needs to be able to achieve. It's not enough to ask for the sale. You need to have a process in place to actually collect money. So this can be, sending them over something like a Stripe link, or which is not complicated. You can even create very easily a Zapier automation for this. But the idea is like Claude Code needs to have the ability to figure out for whatever business you have, what is the best payment processing tool out there. You need to have the ability to access it, and there's a lot of security concerns when it comes to that. If AI messes something up, this can just ruin your business. It's not actually the most complicated thing to achieve, but it's one of those things that if AI is even 95% successful, it's not enough. Because think a little bit about it. When it comes to you sending somebody an invoice, you want that to all the time be the correct invoice. If you send somebody like the wrong invoice even once, if you have like 100 clients and you send that 5 times, those 5 people are just nugged. They're going to think that you're trying to like scam them or something worse. And this again is something very complicated. Now, step number 6 and step number 7, they form up the third sub goal, which is closing the sale. No, actually I'm mistaken. Step number 8 is also involved in the sub goal number 3. Let's just quickly address step number 8 because it's a very simple one. Now, you need to carry on whatever after sales process you have. Now, let's just explain a little bit what that involves. Claude Code needs to have the ability to collect money and then just perform whatever tasks are necessary to, number 1, make sure that it doesn't just get an instant refund request. A lot of people, they buy something and then the next day they get like a lot of remorse, so they just want to get their money back. It needs to make sure that it provides whatever receipt or certainty it's necessary to make the transaction legit. And all those, it needs to make sure also that maybe it adds this customer to like a loyalty program or to a membership. And there's a lot of steps involved in the after sales process. And just to make sure we don't get it confused with actually doing the job, this is still just part of the process to make sure that a stranger is becoming a customer and stays a customer. So again, this is a very crucial part that needs to be achieved. It's not as difficult, I think, as the rest of them, because I don't think that this one carries as much weight or leverage as some of the higher steps, but it's still something that a lot of people need to do. Think a little bit about this. Whatever you're buying, even if you're buying chewing gum from the internet, you're going to receive some form of a thank you for buying this, and that is still part of the process. Okay, now let's just take a look at the last step or task. I call it spin cycles. You can call them something else if you want, but pretty much I believe that Claude Code needs to prove, first of all, that it has the ability not just to like perform all the steps from number 1 to number 8, but it also has like a mechanism to self-improve. Because often what we do, say for example, we just go out there and we send 1,000 emails, and then out of 1,000 emails we get like 1 customer. Sometimes that might not be a good result. Maybe it's not sustainable to just operate on, like a 0.1% success rate with your efforts. Maybe it just costs way more than it brings you as a business. So a lot of the times when a human does this, or like when you try to do this for yourself, you try to take a look at everything that you're doing So everything that you've done from like step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you want to just learn from it and you want to be able to apply it again in a better format. So we want, first of all, Claude Code to have the ability to capture all the data from all its efforts between step number 1 and number 8. We want it to analyze its success. We want it to have some system where it can find bottlenecks, where it can improve. And then we want, and this is what this little red square represents, we want to make sure that Claude Code has the ability to analyze, first of all, internally, all the output it has received from its efforts of interacting with strangers, and then it can somehow deploy and act on them in order to make adjustments and changes to what it creates, to the way it distributes the assets it creates, to the way it qualifies the interest from all these assets it has distributed, and also it has a system to improve its sales process, its ability to collect money, and also how we can make sure that the people who have taken the step to become a customer stay customers. Now, I believe that once this happens, Claude Code will at least prove to me that it was able to achieve sub-goal number 4. And then now that all these 4 sub-goals have been achieved, I do think that once this becomes a reality, AI has reached the goal of just going out there, convincing complete strangers to just transfer us money in exchange for whatever service we have. Once this moment occurs, I do think we're going to have a big shift in the way we perceive AI and the way we perceive how our life is going to go on from that point onwards. Now, do I think we are anywhere close to that point? I don't know, but I think that, just think a little bit about step number 3, right? So there are entire industries that have existed for many decades that they just try to figure out how they can get better at number 3. Think a little bit about all the platforms that connect you with UCG creators. Think a little bit about all the creators out there, all the influencers out there, all the agencies out there that focus on UCG content. All these people, they're just trying to master one form of an asset that attracts people's attention. And UCG is actually quite like a new thing. Think a little bit about email copy. Think how many tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people are specializing in ways to attract your attention with short copy form. I think that we often forget that AI doesn't just have the goal of achieving something, but it also needs to be better than what a lot of us would be able to do. If, for example, AI is able to go between 1 and 8, but does a very poor job of accomplishing step number 9, we might end up with with an AI that can get us 1 client out of 100,000 tries. But realistically, that's just a gimmick. It's not something that we can use. Where it gets scary is if AI can perform number 1 to number 9, and then it can get a really good output that's much better than what humans on average would be able to create. That would be scary. Now, what do I think is important for us as we're just watching this video, as we're freaking out a little bit about where we're heading and how fast AI is actually going to get to go for all these points? I believe specifically in number 3. I also believe that in number 6. Let me just get this. Also, I believe in number 9, because I think that this is something very human specific for us to make mistakes and learn from them. I believe there's still going to be an infinite pool of possibilities of coming up with specific approaches that are inherently human or inherently specific to individuals that a machine will not be able to imitate, or it will never be able to achieve an output as good as that of a human. I believe that this is where we should be doubling down. But the only way to find out for sure is to actually go out there and also do the hard work. In this video, I just painted the picture. But what I want to do is in the next episodes to come, alongside other ideas I have about content, is to actually put this to practice and see how close Claude Code in this case is to achieve all these steps. And I'm going to try to go systematically, one by one, or maybe in a different order. And I'm going to try to figure out what it does well, what it does so and so, and where it's actually still horrible and human input is valuable. And as we go through this journey, I hope that you're going to get something useful out of it. I hope that I'm going to be able also to just see for myself what is happening out there with these tools. And then overall, the final product should be that we can use AI to help us with the things that we don't enjoy doing, and we can double down on the things that we really enjoy doing. Now, don't forget, there is an SOP that is just like a doc that goes into a lot of detail through all the steps that we have discussed, through all the framework I have presented to you. And please just use it. Try to, adapt it to what you are doing or to your business. And hopefully it's going to help you, as I told you before, maybe now like 100 times already. It should help you with, figuring out if AI can help you with something, if a lot of what you're doing is already something within the reach of Claude Code, or if you do have this specific, unique things that you do that make you irreplaceable. You'll be able to see them more clearly, focus on them, double down on them, and then you should be able to carry on throughout these times where everything changes without that much worry. Okay, thank you for this video. Take care.